everyone. Welcome to our Keep It Indie Industry chat. We are super excited today to have the one and only Omari here with us. He is an expert on all things music promotion, music marketing. If you are an independent in the music industry, you've definitely seen his name around. He's one of the best. And so we're super excited to have him here. I'm going to let you give a little spill about who you are, what you do, a little bit about your history and background in the industry, and just anyone who might not know you, just give them a little rundown. Is that cool?
Yeah, sounds good. So pardon me if my voice is a little raspy. I'm getting over a cold, but I started in like a decade ago. Actually, we didn't really celebrate, but we celebrated a decade long business so far. So we do Spotify promotion, YouTube promotion, Facebook, Instagram ads, TikTok ads, all of that. And it got started because I was a producer. So I made music, I made beats. Some people still linger around and they'll tell me, "Hey, I found you way back when." But I made beats and I was selling to artists. And as I was building that business starting in 2014, trying to go full time with it, I was just learning all about internet marketing, email marketing, how to build a list, how to do sales funnels, how to do Google ads, Facebook ads, all that stuff. And as I was building the email list in particular, people kept asking me if I marketed for other artists. At the time, I didn't, but eventually I just said yes. And back then, it was for SoundCloud. And if some people remember this, it was for Reverb Nation. People wanted to be marketed. So I started there and over time just grew to the other products and services. And today, we're one of the largest independent online music promotion agencies. So that is how we got here.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think we have a similar story. We got started a few years after you, so like 2017. And so you were definitely already making waves when we jumped into the pool, but similar story too of kind of our areas of expertise are a little different, but started out with one thing and then grew to the others as they developed, which I feel is the story of everyone in the music industry because it's
Yeah.
always changing, ebbing and flowing. But I'm curious, did you start out like promoting your own music as a producer, or did you start out for other people, or both?
Yeah, it was more so me. So,
Yeah.
pardon me. I was just trying to sell beats, like my beats.
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
made the instrumentals and I would sell them. It was on a website called SoundClick, if people
Mm-hmm.
remember those days. And I do, it was like guerrilla style marketing and just very hands on marketing on that website, just trying to reach out to anybody who
Yeah.
would listen to my beats and buy them. So
Yeah.
that's how I started.
Sweet. Yeah. Cool. That's awesome. As far as like where you're at now, I know you're in a lot of different spaces. It's still mostly marketing through like Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, all of those platforms, or do you dive into any other areas of the promotion world, or what's that look
It's
like these
main,
days? Yes.
It is mainly those. We're switching now. The big project that we're working on, because I bought it was a the domain was available whenever I bought it, but we own recordlabel.ai as well. So
Cool.
we are doing a big project trying to revamp the promotion in a way where it will be
Nice.
sustainable, because the biggest problem we've always had is sustaining the level of promotion that we need to get all the artists that order from us. So that is a big
Right.
system on the back end that if you're doing Google ads or Facebook ads, like that's not hard to keep up with. Spotify
Right.
playlisting is hard to keep up with because there's an inventory issue, as
Mm-hmm.
well as with us, we guarantee, quote unquote, a certain amount of views or streams with the
Mm-hmm.
promotion, and that's really just us continuing to work on the promotion until it's
Right.
fulfilled. So that means we have an inventory side of things and the system side of things. So that's the big project we're working on. But that is still where we work. We're just revamping how it gets
Yeah.
delivered.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are super curious about, especially since kind of the Spotify crackdowns that came out this year is in January when they released their whole new workflow, all the stuff that came out with the artificial streaming. And
Mm-hmm.
what's been your experience with that? I know a lot of our artists, and we have even done ads and things through Spotify Ad Studio and then through Meta and through Google. And just we're finding certain things will trigger that kind of algorithmic saying this is an artificial stream and certain things won't. I'm curious as to what your experience has been like and how you've navigated that. this year? Because I know a lot of people have struggled in that area.
Yeah, so probably about 5 years ago at this point, we came out with an article. It was like one of the first ones that showed people here's like our research method for detecting bad
Right.
list.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it hasn't really changed like our method for detecting it because it's pretty foolproof. So you guys can look up that article if you haven't read it at
Yeah.
all. But it is really just looking at tell all factors of what's a bad list versus a good list. And since we also grow list, like we also have our own list that we have run ads for years and know
Yeah.
all about how Spotify organic SEO works,
Mm-hmm.
we're able to pretty easily detect a bad list. So we haven't really had that affect us, to be honest
Okay.
with you. Like we haven't
Yeah.
had it affect us because like the list in our network, we know where the traffic is coming from.
Right.
Like
Right.
either this is coming from ads or this is coming from SEO traffic from
Mm-hmm.
Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I know the
That's
notice
good.
they put up on there of DistroKids is the most absurd of all of them. I'm sure people have seen the ad that we did. That it pretty much just says if you pay a promotion agency, then it's automatically fake, which is just absurd. Everybody knows that's stupid. That's why it hasn't worked. That's why it doesn't affect
Right.
us or affect other promotion agencies
Right.
because it's so foolish to just say
Yeah.
that any agency out there is providing fake plays. It's
Right.
laughable, and artists don't fall for it.
Yeah.
Instead, they ask themselves some critical thinking questions of, okay, how do I detect a bad list? And
Are
then
they
if they,
transparent? That's a big one I hear is
right.
like people I'm working with. Are they transparent or is it like always bot situation where I'm never talking to an actual person?
If you don't ever
Yeah.
see the lead of the company or the employees at the company, like if you can't ever see anybody's face, if they don't answer their customer support questions, if they don't answer their reviews, so on and so forth, like those are all signs of,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
that these people may be trying to get away with something. So people just use their common sense, they use their intuition, and we haven't really had any problems with that.
Great. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. I know there were some issues earlier in the year with, and I don't know if you ever used them, but Spotify Ad Studio, which was really built more for businesses. And then a few companies, ours included, tried to use them for artists and it wasn't super successful. But I'm curious, do you stick to mostly like Meta and Google, or have you tried any of those that have come out recently and just what's been your experience there?
Yeah, so we've pretty much tried all of them.
Everything.
With Spotify Ad Studio, the shame is it has the potential to work very well, but Spotify doesn't have the volume of advertising that it needs to bring the prices down. So if the
Right.
prices were slightly lower, you could make it work for artists, at least have it be competitive with Facebook or Instagram. The issue that Spotify has is that Facebook and Instagram have so much more inventory to serve the ads
Yes.
that they can charge a way less
Yeah.
price. So it doesn't make sense for us to try to come up with creative for the ad studio, Spotify ad studio, the audio ads, whenever we can get the cost
Yeah.
per conversion so cheap with Facebook and Instagram. I do think it has potential. It can work. Like I definitely wouldn't just do a run of the mill ad on Ad Studio and have it sound like everybody else's. You do have to be more creative. You have to be creative with your ads anywhere, but especially with audio ads, because that is a different beast. The video ads or image ads that you'll see on
Anything
Facebook,
visual.
Instagram, or Google. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know a question I get a lot, which you would probably be the perfect person to answer this, but between utilizing ads and utilizing playlists for independent artists specifically, do you think one is more effective than the other, or do you think you need them both, or just what are your thoughts in general on those two methods?
We have said you need them both for a while now. We do lean more towards the ads. So even though we get more, to this day, we still get more people ordering playlist promotion versus having us manage their ads for them. And that's
Mhm.
also because that product costs more to start. Like the Spotify promotions under $100 to get the lowest package, and then the ads is like the lowest package starts at 700. That's just because it takes time to make the creative for those ads. But
Right.
historically, we've
Right.
told people that you should have about, if you have $1,000 or whatever your budget is, 40% or so of that should be going towards ads, like Facebook, Instagram ads, TikTok
Mhm.
ads, YouTube ads, Google ads, all that. At least 40% of your budget, 40 to 70, honestly, because you can control so much more than you can with playlist promotion. The playlist promotion will get you a cheaper cost per play most of the time, but the Facebook and Instagram ads will
Yeah.
allow you to grow your sales funnels a lot more. If you're doing things, if you have a set up business as an artist, you have way more control with the Facebook, Instagram ads than you do with the playlist promotion, but you have to have them feed each other. So whenever your songs can have more streams and you can show that in the ad, it will help your ads do better just
Hmm.
because it has more streams. If you have a song that has 2 million streams, people are going to click on that ad a whole lot more than a
Yeah.
song that doesn't do, just doesn't have plays yet.
Yeah.
Like you have to do
That's
different
right.
advertising
Yeah.
tactics just by that. And a perfect example is that if you see a video in Reels or YouTube Shorts or whatever that already has a bunch of likes on it, you are more likely to like that video just because it
Hmm.
has comments and likes. Even
Power
if
of
there's another
suggestion,
video,
right?
yeah, even if there's another video that's better, that was
Yeah.
more well done, that is funnier, that's whatever, you're more likely to engage with the other video just because other people already engage with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you brought up sales funnel because that's something we actually talk a lot about in our membership is we call it a fan funnel, but it's essentially the same thing, like nurturing your fan from just discovering you to ultimately to monetization of some sort and the different steps that takes and the different things. And ads is definitely a part of driving traffic and things of that nature. I guess my question following that would be, as far as ads go and utilizing that, I've always said ads have a better, they're built for conversion, whereas playlisting is not. Playlisting is built for listening and ads are built for conversion. It sounds like you would agree with that. And I would just ask, like, how do you coach artists through utilizing ads within their sales funnel? Like, where do you feel it's most valuable? What kind of things should they only be doing ads for their songs, or should they be doing ads for other things? They're like, as a business person yourself, what does that look like for the artist who's trying to build that back end business for their music?
Salt on that, but the thing
Okay.
is, that's a question for their manager.
Okay.
So if they don't have a manager, if they're acting as their own manager, that's really what products do you have
Hmm.
that you can start
And
running a
where's your
sales funnel
priority?
to. Yeah, like they have to
Right.
have something
Yeah.
to sell in order
Makes
to
sense.
build the sales funnel. If you don't have that product to sell, like if you're not doing shows, you don't have merch, you don't have your products and services, you don't have, I don't know, cameo videos that you
Just,
sell,
yeah.
you have to have something else to sell.
Right.
Otherwise, you're a product and
Yeah.
not a business.
Right. Right.
So you have to know, and we give suggestions on all those things I just listed of here's some ideas you can sell. You can do AI
Yeah.
voices now. You can have people use your AI voice.
Which
There's
is
a
wild.
bunch of stuff. Yeah, it is. But there's a bunch of stuff you can sell. It's just if you don't have that on your back end, then no, we can't make a sales funnel for you because you don't have anything to
Right.
sell.
Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. And I think we agree in that because I always urge them to have something on the back end that you're ultimately pushing them to other than a new song, other than new music. The music is actually like the attention grabber to everything else that you ultimately funnel them to. So, yeah.
Yeah, and to that point, like I just for whoever's listening to this, you are a creative person. Like
Hmm.
you can think of things off you don't have to be super creative, but you are a creative person. You can still look at other
Yes.
ideas that other artists are doing and just borrow what they're doing and add it to your sales funnel. If you see, even in
Right.
other creative industries, like people do conferences, they do dinners. If you're having a concert or whatever, one
Yeah.
extra item can be, hey, here's a special dinner with me
It's a special
for
meet and greet
20
dinner. Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that, people still want to do it. They want to get to
Yeah.
know you. Charge them $50 a head for the dinner, or $100 if you're going to make it really special, and there's extra revenue for you. And then you run people to those type of sales funnel in every city you're visiting.
Yeah.
All of that adds up. You have to be creative. Like you have to put the sales funnel
Yeah.
together, and then the person who's doing ads will have something to drive the
Push it
traffic
to you.
to.
That's a really good point because that's something I've always said too. Like merch and ticket sales, like that's great. But if you can have something that makes the fan feel like they're exclusive or feel like they know you better or have some kind of insight into your artistry, that's like what most fans are there for. Like, I think of myself as a fan and I'm like, I would definitely pay for something like that with my favorite artist just to be able to talk to them or hear their insight or whatever versus a t-shirt because I have 1,000 t-shirts at home. So I'm not like necessarily going to spend my money on that, but I would spend my money on an experiential type of thing. And so whether it's like an in-person creative thing like that, there's so many virtual options these days to bring fans in if you're not able to, if you're not on tour. There's so many options, but just to your point, being creative and thinking outside the box is so key, I think, in creating that sales funnel for your fan base and just making them feel included, like making them feel kind of part of the inner circle in a way.
Yeah, people will pay for experiences.
Yeah, cool. One question I did have for you is us at Press Fresh Collective, we have a huge focus on PR just because that's where we got our start was in the PR industry. And so I'm curious from your standpoint in digital marketing, like what role does PR and branding play for you guys and how does that play well or not with what you guys do on your end in the marketing space?
Yeah, the PR piece has been something we've always just been affiliates for. So
Hmm.
we don't really do the PR for artists. We have a list of people who would do it,
Sure.
but we don't really do it as much. Where I see it coming in would be that field of leverage for the ads that I was
Hmm.
saying. You like, let's say on your website, you see sometimes it says as featured on blah, 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 right?
Hmm. Hmm.
But it's still a credibility builder that can be worth it for other things that somebody is doing. Now, sometimes a press piece can have its own virality and get a certain amount of
Yeah.
eyeballs and whatnot, but for most artists with a lot of websites, it's only getting so many eyeballs on a blog, and that's
Right.
not really going to translate to listeners on
Right.
Spotify most of the time.
Right.
But the credibility piece is something that artists should take seriously. Even on our website, right below especially on sales pages, you'll see somewhere on our sales page, it'll say promoted for a bunch of record labels will be listed on there or something.
Sure.
And people will see that, and it's a credibility builder. It does lead to the conversion rate optimization for our sales
Hmm.
pages. So that's
Hmm.
where I see press
Right.
coming in for artists in that same vein. It's not something that we provide, but I would still do it. Like I'd have a part of the budget set aside for it for those reasons.
Yeah, I'm in alignment with that. I've always said PR is not going to get you streams, but it will get you eyeballs and that just reputation building. So like you said, credibility, SEO, and then if you're looking for streams, that's where the digital marketing comes into play. And if you're looking for that more so fan conversion, that's where the digital marketing comes into play. But leveraging them together, I think is always
Yeah.
powerful and being able to use both pieces. As far as when you're looking at artists to work with, how do you evaluate the potential success of an artist? What things are you looking at? What things do artists need to have in place to be successful in their promotions? Just, yeah, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So our service is a little different in that the anybody can order from us. The services are a la carte on the website. So we're not like putting together the package for them. We do consult. If they call us or they set up a consultation call, we do consult and say, here's what I would do.
Right.
But the quality of the music is a given. Like it has to be mixed, be mastered, sound good, be in key, all that stuff.
Yes.
But as far as the other things on what do I think would be successful, there's so many genres and so many playlists out there. Like you can be successful doing whatever, to be
Yeah.
honest. Like there's billions of people listening to music out there. There is your niche out there
Mhm.
somewhere. You just got to know marketing to find them, and you can be successful. So all other factors equal, there's really there's no one thing. If you're looking for a smash hit or something, then yeah, you do got to go with some more mainstream genres. But most independent artists aren't looking for, they're not going to get a smash hit. They need to be more
Right.
strategic than that. So there's no one thing I could tell artists that they should be doing. There's the field's wide open.
Yeah, yeah. What big mistakes in their marketing strategy? Is there anything you see that's a common mistake that you would advise against?
Not having the sales funnels, not
Yeah,
having
not having
products.
somewhere for the fan to go when they get the
Yeah.
ad. Yeah, yeah. I think that's, yeah, I say that a lot too. I'm like, before you do ads, let's have somewhere for those fans to go.
Yeah. So not having a website, like a .com is so cheap to
Yes,
have
yes.
that it doesn't, if a lot of artists think that their Instagram is their hub or their TikTok is their hub, it is not. You
Yeah,
don't own it. Mark Zuckerberg and the rest of the shareholders
they can
own
turn it off
that.
tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to buy some meta stock, by all means, go
Yeah.
ahead and then you can be part owner of it. But you don't own your page. Now, these days, they have calmed down. So look back 3 years ago, 2 years ago, they were banning stuff left and right on there. Like you
Mhm.
don't own your page. So if you want to take that risk and build your whole audience on there and then they just rip it from you because you say
Right.
something they don't like, then they can do that. Like it's just a fact of the matter, no matter, which side you're leaning on and what you think. All it takes is one switch of the flip or flip of the switch, and your page
Yeah.
is gone, your work is gone. So you need a website. Now, what they can, your host can kick you off of their hosting for your website, but they can't take your files. So
Right.
you can take
Right.
your files with you and say, I'll go get a new host somewhere else for my website, my.com, and you can be back up and running. You just have to back up your files on a regular basis so that they can keep
Right.
that with you. Now, most people, this isn't going to happen to, but you don't want it to be you that day that it does come. Most people
Right.
aren't going to get banned or kicked off, but there are going to be some that are, and you just don't want it to be you. You don't want to have to find out the hard way. So
No.
just build the good foundation the first time, and then you won't have to be worrying later on.
Yes, I agree with that so much. Yeah. Especially from a PR perspective, I feel like having a .com and a landing place for everything that you do is so crucial and so key. And just not having that is such a missed opportunity, in my opinion. But yeah, glad to hear you say that too. One question I do have, and then here soon we're going to turn it over to open Q&A for anyone who's attending live. But how do you pivot when maybe a marketing strategy isn't working as you expected? Like, what do you have a go-to, or is it different for everything, or just what does that look like when things are not working out the way you want them to?
Yeah, it depends on the platform.
Okay.
So for instance, with our Spotify,
Hmm.
like I said, we have the inventory issue. It's been a continuous thing with us.
Yeah.
So the pivot would be to build the network in a way that artists can connect with playlisters more directly in the vein of a Submit Hub or a Groover, but in a different way where the playlister is more inclined to be on the platform. That's their problem. Submit Hub and Groover is that the playlisters a lot of times don't want to be on there
Yeah.
because they're like, this is $2
Yes.
that
Yeah.
you want me to get paid. So we have to develop a method where it can still be, they're not paying, people aren't paying directly to be placed on the playlist, but also that the playlister can get paid some more. Because if you
Right.
have a list
Yeah.
with 1 million followers or 100,000 followers, or this list is growing at 50 followers per day, no, you don't want $2 because
Yeah.
everybody wants to get on your list, and that just going to take you 8 hours to listen to everything, and you're going to get
True.
paid what, 50
Yeah.
bucks for the day, like that.
Right.
Yeah. So coming up with a system that is better for playlisters, better for artists, because artists don't want to pay $15 for a submission just to have somebody say, hey, this sounds great, but I don't want it on my playlist. Coming up with all those, taking a high level overview and then doing a deep dive on the code to make sure that system is working right. That's how I approach problems nowadays. It's very involved, and I have to think
Yeah.
big picture on all the problems we see in our agency, all the problems that other people have, and saying, how can I solve all these? So to solve those, it is Honestly, it's sitting and ruminating and thinking in the shower, thinking on walks, thinking at my desk, like how can this be solved? So it's no one campaign that like here's what I do for this is really a big system problem now that I'm trying to solve.
Yeah. I'm glad you're working on solving it. That's great.
Yeah, we're
For the
working.
rest of us.
We are working. It's probably it's probably the most challenging like
I would think that.
system coding project that I've worked on.
Very
Hopefully
cool.
it'll be done before the end of the year, but not
I'm
easy.
sure. Yeah, I can imagine. I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not trying to tackle that. That sounds daunting. Cool. I am going to open it up. We have a few people attending live, so I'm just going to open up opportunity for anyone to ask you questions. And yeah, is there anyone that has a question for Omari while you've got him live? It's a rare opportunity.
I got a question if you can hear me.
Yes.
Yeah, go for it.
I guess as an artist with a smaller following, like on social media and on Spotify, someone who's just starting out, is there a particular ad that makes more sense to start with? Is is Spotify ads, Meta ads, Google ads, YouTube? What is the best? What would you recommend to start with if you're virtually unknown?
So you're just trying to get just more listeners right now.
Listeners, some followers on anything in general.
If you're just trying to get a ball rolling, you don't have a website set up yet, you don't have products and services, and you're just trying to see who likes my music, I'd probably go, I'd split it. Like if you had, let's say, $200 or something, I'd split that between one small playlisting promotion just to get the data back on which one is getting me, what cost per stream am I getting from each platform. So I would do a little bit of Spotify playlisting. I would do a little bit of Facebook / Instagram ads, and then a little bit of YouTube ads. Those would be the three I'd hit. And then I'd keep close track of the price. And I wouldn't do them all at the same time because then your cost per stream, you're not going to be able to see how much you're paying per stream on each platform. So I do one at a time. I take that data after the 3 weeks or whatever it takes to get that data back. And then I would use that data going forward to whichever one does best. Maybe I put a little bit more money towards that next time, and I put a little bit less towards the others, and then keep close track on how much did I pay and how many streams did it bring back and what saves did this get and how many followers on my page did this get, so on and so forth. Now, the Facebook, Instagram ads are probably going to get you more followers on your Instagram page versus Spotify getting you followers on Spotify, because nothing really happens when you follow somebody on Spotify. But on Facebook and Instagram, they tend to hit that follow button a bit more, especially on Instagram versus Facebook. They tend to hit the follow button a bit more. So if you're looking for a hybrid promotion where you want to get both streams to Spotify and followers on a page, that's probably your best one. But that's what I would do. Does that make sense, Brad? I know.
It does. Yeah. Thank you. Yep.
I think you're muted, Don.
Yeah, Dawn, you're on mute.
Here I am. Cool. Thanks, Brian, for your question. That's all I was saying. And I am going to lobby it over to you, Omari, for kind of our closing. Is there anything just that you would like to leave artists with who are listening to this and considering marketing their music? Is there any kind of tidbits or advice or come see me or anything you'd like to leave them with?
Yeah, so the last bit of advice I'll give is hopefully before the end of the year, that project that I just described will be out. You can check it out at record label. That one will be at recordlabel.ai. That system will not be for Omari. It will be towards the new brand at recordlabel.ai. There's tools there already that people can check out. Cool. But that is the big one that I say keep an eye out for, because I think this will really solve a lot of the problems that people have with playlisting and promotion. So keep an eye out for it.
Awesome. We're looking forward to seeing it. We'll be checking it out for sure. And we're going to drop all of Omari's links, where to connect, where to find him, services, all those things in the video description. So be sure to click and check that out. And just thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time to chat with us and answer questions. And hope we can do this again one day.
Absolutely. Thank you, Don, for the invite, and thanks for having me. And yeah, hopefully we'll do this again soon.
All right. Thanks.